Hello and welcome back to another week of Sambo iRacing. We're back in the rookie fixed edition of the Mazda MX5, this time at the updated Charlotte Roval 2025 layout. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments, and as always we're going to do a hot lap, then a breakdown that, then we will be back in the cockpit one final time, the driving line on. Right, let's start the hot lap. Down the main straight looking for our entry into turn 1, which is going to be this 1 marker, and we're only braking up to about 15%. Leave it in 3rd gear, back on the gas, and we're absolutely flat here as we go through turns 2 over to the left hand side. Now as we go into the Bank of America, we're just going to lightly dab the brakes, and we're just basically feathering that throttle, keep it in 2nd gear through the apex, and then back up to 3rd. Now we're going to go flat here as we go through turn 5, head over to the left hand side, and again, don't over brake round here. On the brakes, only up to about 12-13%, and again, just feathering, back on the gas, 2nd gear, now brake hard, trail it off down to 1st gear. I missed the apex there by about 3 meters because I'm a sausage, but it was still my best lap. That's probably a couple of tenths in there. Now we're hooking it down close to the line as we go through turn 9. Back over to the right hand side. Now we're looking for just before the 2 marker. It's more or less the 3 marker. We brake quite hard down to 2nd gear, little dab of brakes again at the 2nd apex, back on the gas. Cut the corner now through here, but get one of your tyres up above the line before we come across that horizontal white line I'll show you in the breakdown. Just keep holding it tight over to the left hand side. So we want this nice wide entry so we can go straight here on the brakes as we get to the line, up to about 85%, down 2nd gear, back on the gas. Had a little moment there on exit, and over and across the line I went in a 134.8. Right, we've got the breakdown lap coming up next. First braking marker, as I say, don't over brake. So many people over brake for all the corners around here. Just before the 1 marker, you can see start getting on the brakes. The highest I get is up to 15-16%. I'm just going to hold that until we get to the apex, then I get back on the gas in 3rd gear. When do I get up to 100? Yeah, more or less as the car's settling. I'll get back round to the left. Right, so just before I get to the Bank of America sign, you can see, in fact, I'm just going to rewind that very slightly so you can see that once I get my wheel straight here, this is where I'm dabbing the brakes up to sort of 7%. You've got to ignore the graph at this bit and just actually look at the numbers because I went backwards. So once I get there and I've got my wheel straight, I dab the brakes only up to about 7%, and now I'm just holding it down to 2nd gear, and I'm waiting for that that balance of the car, the weight, to feel like I can get my nose turned in. And now I go back up to 100%, getting my right-hand wheel right on this no-cut sausage curb. We are in the fixed Mazda, so it is incredibly soft, and it can eat the curbs up no problem. Right, 3rd gear. We're going to go absolutely flat through here, getting nice and tight to the sausage curb. And now we're going to go all the way over to the left-hand side, to the left-hand side of the blue line. And as I get to the crest, which is now, I go on the brakes up to about 12%, and I'm off the gas, and I just hold it. Now I trail it off down to here, and once I get to this sort of apex of turn 6, I've got my right-hand tyres on the almost on the grass here, so I drop it down to 2nd. I then go up to 100% on the throttle. So if you look at the telemetry graph, I've not done a huge amount of braking through here, but you'll find that people are doing like 50, 60, 70% braking to go around that corner. You're going to lose seconds and seconds. Right, we go over to the left-hand side, and just before we get to the white and blue line that's coming out to us, this is when we are going to go on the brakes, and I actually go up to about 85%, trail it off quite quickly, down to 1st gear, and I pick up on the gas. Should be at the apex, but as I say, I've missed it by about 2 feet here. Absolutely bogs down even in 1st gear because there's a box of crap as a car, or its engine is, and I say that having owned one. But I am the one with the pop-up headlights. You don't care, though. You're just here for the track guide. Right. As we come up to the chicane, so it's going to be just before the 3 marker here. You can see the 3 is just in front of me. Get on the brakes briefly up to about 90-95%. I'm going to trail that off down to 2nd gear, picking back up on the gas at the 1st apex. And now I'm going to do a light dab on the brakes to get through the 2nd apex. And I get back up to 100% here, and I'm going to keep my foot in the throttle now all the way through. So you're going to do a little bit of counter steering, otherwise you're going to end up in that wall. I could have probably held it down lower here. Right, so I wanted this nice wide entry into the final corner simply so that when I brake, I can brake in a straight line. So as you see, I've entered wide, so you'll see that just as I get to the white and blue line here, I'm going to straighten my wheel, and that's when I'm going to do the braking. So an awful lot of people have trouble when you're braking in the MX5, and it's usually because you've got steering lock on some in some description when you're doing it. So look, I've now got my wheel straight, absolutely dead straight, and that's when I'm getting on the brakes up to about 85%. Now I trail it off down to second gear, and I start getting on the gas now. So I'm back on almost 100% as my car is completely over the corner, and I just leave it in flat, then get the left-hand side of my car over the second set of curbs. As I say, I just had a little wobble on the rear there as I went through. We have one final version coming up next with the driving line on without me talking. Enjoy.